Hey, fellow mathers, before we get into this episode, we want to share with you how you can get access to free content, professional learning that will keep your students engaged and doing the math that matters. Get ready to go to this link, mathisfigureoutable.com/challenge.
That's right. Registration is open for the free Math is Figureoutable Challenge that's starting May 15th and runs to the 17th at 7 p.m. Central. We're going to have 3 nights jam packed with learning and routines that you can take straight to your classroom.
In these challenges, we have a great time. We do some math, talk about classroom experiences, give away super cool bonuses and prizes. You won't just walk away with routines that are naturally engaging and encourage your students to think mathematically. You'll also have a chance to win over 6K worth in prizes, including a few virtual PD sessions for your school. I'll be joined by my wonderful co-host Kim and special guest Jenna Labe.
You can register at mathisfigureoutable.com/challenge for a fantastic learning experience. That's mathisfigureoutable.com/challenge. Now on to the show.
Hey, fellow mathematicians, welcome to the podcast where math is figureoutable. I'm Pam,
And I'm Kim.
and this episode is a Math Strat Chat episode. What is Math Strat Chat? Well, every Wednesday evening, I throw out a math problem on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. People from all around the world chat about the strategies they use. We love seeing everyone's thinking.
We sure do. So this Wednesday, our math problem was 2 minus 8.9. How would you solve this problem? Pause the podcast, solve it any way you want. The problem was 2 minus 8 and 9/10. Solve it, and then come back to hear how we solved it.
All right, so we got a little integer work going on here. Nice,
Yeah, we do.
nice.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just going to point out one quick thing. You might notice that whenever we use decimals, Kim's really particular to say the problem in point language and in tenths language. So 8.9 and 8 and 9/10. And we think that that makes sense. We think that students ought to hear both. So we'll just throw that out there. All right, Kim, I'm curious. How were you thinking about 2 subtract 8.9?
Okay, so the first thing I did was start a number line,
Okay.
and I put 2 on kind of the right side.
Okay.
And then I made a jump to subtract 8. And I did mark down where 0 would be just to kind of orient myself. But when I jumped back 8, then I landed on -6. And then I knew I still needed to remove 90 cents or 0.9 or 9/10. So then I made one more jump back of a smaller jump of 0.9, and I landed on -6.9.
So a jump back of 0.9 is
Mhm.
-6.9. That's not -5.1 or some weird. I think it's back that direction.
No.
Can you how did you know that 2 minus 8 was -6? I know you said 0 was in there, but can you just like say that out loud?
Yeah. So if I had gone from 2 to 0, then that would be a jump of -2.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I went from 2 to -6, then that would be another amount of -6. So -2 and -6 was -8.
Cool. So you sort of could think about that 0 in there as kind of being helpful.
Yeah. It's kind of a benchmark to make sure that I'm on the right track.
Yeah, totally. So I'm a little curious that you didn't use an over strategy. That would typically be your go-to.
It would be. You know what? And I think it's because I'm less familiar with integer work. I mean, I obviously can, and I have a few strategies, but it's been a little while.
Uh-huh.
And so I think what happens is when I'm less in it, maybe I revert to a simpler strategy.
A less sophisticated strategy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so I'll just go ahead. I'll play with an over strategy then. So
Okay.
2 subtract 8.9 is really close to 2 subtract 9.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 subtract 9, if I kind of think about 2 to 0 is 2, then I got to subtract 7 more. So I'm at -7.
Mm-hmm.
2 subtract 9 is -7, but I've subtracted a bit too much. So I
Mm-hmm.
need to adjust by a tenth to the right. And that would also be -6.9. Yeah.
I actually like your
Nice.
strategy better. I wish I had thought about that. It didn't even occur to me, to be perfectly honest with you, when I saw the 8.9.
Well, so listeners might find it interesting that that this is a very typical thing that when students do something new, they sort of go into a more difficult number system, or all of a sudden the numbers get bigger or smaller
Mm-hmm.
or more fractiony, more decimally. In some way, they're more complicated. Students will often revert back, or people will
Mm-hmm.
often revert to something less sophisticated,
Yep.
something they feel solid in. Yep, I'm confident, but then quickly be able to
Yep.
kind of pull in those other strategies that they had developed with easier number systems.
Yeah.
So that's a thing to know and to just be sort of expect that's going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
cool.
Okay, we can't wait to see your strategies. I wonder if yours was like mine or Pam's or something entirely different. Represent your thinking, take a picture of your work or screenshot your phone and tell the world on social media. While you're there, check out what other people did and comment on their thinking.
While you were talking, I'm totally looking at that problem, wondering about I was asking myself, well, what's more sophisticated that you weren't thinking about, Pam? And I'll just mention, listeners, see, it's good that you listen to the whole thing. I was thinking about constant difference. So I'll just throw that out there and see if anybody wants to play with that.
Perfect.
All right. While you're doing it, tag me on Twitter at PW Harris, on Instagram at Pam Harris _math, and at Facebook, Pam Harris, author of Mathematics Education, and use the hashtag MathStratChat. So make sure you check out the MathStrat Chat problem we post next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, and then pop back here to hear what we're thinking about the problem. We love having you as part of the Math is Figureoutable movement. Let's keep spreading the word that math is figureoutable. Thank you for listening and making math more figureoutable.
To learn even more, make sure you register for our free challenge at mathisfigureoutable.com/challenge. You are not going to want to miss the evenings of May 15th through 17th, starting at 7 p.m. Central.
Math teaching, go register now. That's mathisfigureoutable.com/challenge. Join us to make math more and more figureoutable. And if you can't join live, register and we'll send you access to the recordings. We'll see you there.